So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. And I have a desperate buzz in my ear for whatever reason coming through my headset. Oh, there it goes. Must be just a loose little cable or something. Because when I pulled my headphones away from my head and I put it back, the buzzing stopped. So all's good at the moment. And hopefully that's the only hiccup that we have over the next 3.5 hours or so, because Aston Villa play Everton, and they play away at Everton, and they play a Sean Dyche team who's going to be well drilled, well marshalled, and won't be up for any ill positioning and poorly set up, I suppose, today. And Aston Villa will need to have their big boy pants on to be able to deal with this Sean Dyche team today. Paddy, we're about 48 hours since we did our preview. Any different feelings from the last time we spoke about this?
No, not necessarily. I don't think there's been any surprises or anybody extra injured. So
Coutinho took a knock. He had a fitness test this morning.
Did he say that?
Ashley Priest said it about an hour ago.
All right. Okay. At least that's somewhere we have cover for.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
I think once it's not a centre half or a defensive central midfielder, I'm not worried too much because we've got plenty of cover in all the other positions. But it worries me if we go down with any injuries in those positions. But if Coutinho goes down and it's a fitness test, it means it's not too bad. We might lose him for just today. So is today the rough and tumble you need Coutinho for? We don't know. We don't know what Everton is going to throw at us today. But yeah, wouldn't be too worried if that's the case. There's plenty of cover.
I think, and just for that, just in case I scare anybody in the chat, I think the expectation is that Coutinho plays today. So it's not like as if it's it's one of those ones where, oh no, this could be a 12-week or anything like that. He just took a knock in training. They're just going to keep an eye on him this morning and see what happens. And but the likelihood is that he will play. That's what I read into it this morning. So as I say, I think it's probably going to be unchanged. But if Coutinho is out, looks like Leon Bailey will probably be the man that will come in there, I would imagine, given that Unai Emery has said that he's he's not averse to playing John Duran if he has to. He just wants to bed him in kind of slowly into this league. Do you think it'll be Leon Bailey, Paddy, or do you think he'll just go straight for John Duran?
Reading into what he said, like you did, I would say it will be Leon Bailey for sure, and he's just taking his time with Duran to see if he can get him up to speed, and then I'm sure we'll see him thrown in at the deep end fairly soon.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think the Coutinho starts, and I think the John Duran comes off the bench anyway, as does Leon Bailey. And I think we will see a pattern of substitution usage over the remaining 15 or so games that we have this season. And I think that's all ahead of us. But Everton have had some good news with regards to their players as well, and I think it spells bad news for us because Onana seems to be fit, seems to be back from his knee injury. Did come off the bench against Leeds in their last game, but it looks like he's probably gunning to start in this game. I haven't seen any press conference that Sean Dyche did, if he said anything to the contrary, but somebody with his height and his stature, and we don't do well against those big bustling midfielders because we don't have bustling midfielders ourselves, and he is he's exactly what Sean Dyche wants, to get him up close to Neil Maupay, who I would imagine will be their starting striker today, to create that extra bit of height for him and that extra bit of muscle for him up there. So that's not a good thing for us that Onana is back.
No, absolutely not. Good from set pieces as well. Decent player. They're not a bad side. I think they've just been badly coached for the last while. I expect a resolute defence with a little bit of license for the likes of Onana, and obviously Maupay will pay up top on his own, you would imagine. I can't imagine they're going to throw any curveball there at this stage.
I don't think they play Ellis Sims up there. I think it's probably too. It's not a game for somebody like Ellis Sims. So I think it's going to be more by myself.
Yeah. So look, I think we're looking at a very cagey affair here. I think we'll probably start in the ascendancy and struggle to break them down, and they'll try and hit us on the break. And we know Mopai is well able to do that, and he does play particularly well against us. I think every team has one player in particular that plays well against us. I think the fact that he's still a bit bitter that he could have come to us back in the early Dean Smith days, I think that still plays a bit on his mind. So that has always been my fear with this Everton team is he could do something definitely.
Let's take a little look before the teams are announced at some of the comments there, and thanks everybody in the chat room for getting involved as always. Kieran O'Callaghan says he'd take a draw right now if he's offered. By no means is this an easy game, and I 100% agree with Kieran as well, because it's obviously Everton are resurgent at the moment, and we're playing against a manager who really regimentally deals with teams and deals with setups and so on. So I said as well, I think both managers would take a draw from this to stop the rot that we have and to keep the points tally going for Everton at the moment.
So, yeah.
Now, personally, I want to win, and I think everybody wants to win. I think the team has ample ability to win this game. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not buying into this. I told you guys about 3 weeks ago, I'm not buying into doom spraying. I am not buying into performative negativity. But what I will say is that Unai Emery needs a result. Not Unai Emery. I think just for the morale of the team, so it doesn't become a kind of a noose around their neck. Losing 4 in a row. I think they need to stop
losing the habit. So you just got to break the habit and just get. If I want us to win the game. I think we should win the game, but I would take a draw now. I know when the team sheet comes out, I would probably predict a narrow victory, but I would take a draw now for sure.
I think so too. Shane Coleman says our players will be hungry and upset from the last 3 results. I expect a big reaction, unsure in the result, but doubt we will lose. And Dave Winter says we've not done well against Dyche sides over the years. I mentioned that as well. I would add
that it's not really a Dyche side as such. He hasn't had a chance to put any stamp on it. He hasn't had a chance to bring in any players that he would have liked there. But I get where he's come from. We struggled badly against his Burnley side, especially on those ridiculous crosses that we were putting into the box. He has Tarkowski. That's probably the only player that's there. McNeil is there too. Yeah. And funnily enough, he's come into form since Dyche came in there. So obviously needed an arm around him, and that's the type of player that he needs. Yeah. So, or the type of manager that he needs, I should say. So that's one we need to look out for as well today, because he'll be absolutely flying down that wing, and he'll have Dyche's words in his ears, no doubt.
Exactly. Damien L says after Loon Legends want to see a solid 90-minute performance and nothing silly, and he also follows up with for Ollie to get his 5th in 5. I'm really rooting for Ollie to get his 5th in 5 as well.
I think we all are. Yeah, I think it'd be great for him going forward. Absolutely.
And for all the players we need to keep as cocksure as the day is long, it needs to be Ollie Watkins, because as I say, if you've got a striker in form, you always have a chance, regardless of what happens in games. Spurs have had nearly 10 years of about 8 years of Harry Kane being in form, and they've always had a chance in games when they've not been playing well. And when you have a striker that's bang on form, you at the start of the season, Brentford did the same thing. They had a striker in form in Ivan Toney, and they always had a chance. Team is out. Block your ears, everybody, if you don't like it, because we've got a team alert. I love the team alert. I brought it back. I gave you a reprieve last week, but we do have a team. And I'm just trying to share up the screen here now. And the starting 11 is in.
Big news is no Coutinho. Yeah.
No Coutinho, exactly. Martinez, Cash, Konza, Mings, and Digne. McGinn, Douglas Luiz, and Kamara, with Jacob Ramsey, Ollie Watkins, and Leon Bailey. So no Buendia, no Coutinho. Looks like we're going to be hunkering down in midfield here and going for one of those Spurs results with McGinn and Kamara, or with McGinn and like we did with McGinn and Ramsey, either side of Douglas Luiz and Kamara. Going to be tucking into the 6 at the back, I think, to stop those long crosses or those raking balls from the likes of Dwight McNeil. We've no Coutinho even on the bench today. So what we're looking at on the bench is Sinisala and Ziyech in bench once more. Bertie is there, Buendia is there, Alex Moreno, Chambers, Ashley Young, John Duran, and then Donker of that team, and I, you know. Did I break the news that Coutinho might be? Usually we've got people coming in and coming into the chats going, "Oh, it looks like X player or Y player isn't going to be starting today." But look, Coutinho is out. Did pick up a knock. Someone's going to have to step up to the plate from the coming off the bench today. It's unfortunate because just as Coutinho is beginning to kind of knock all the rust off of the last while in Stephen Gerrard's managership, he gets injured. And we're going to need big performances. Jacob Ramsey is going to need to be the Jacob Ramsey of last year and not the Jacob Ramsey of this year. And Luka Dean coming up against his old team, a team who he has beef against, is going to need to be very resolute up against Alex Iwobi, who, you mentioned, you ask any, or you see any interviews with any of the Everton squad, first thing they're asked, or when they ask when they're asked who's the most talented player in the squad, every single one of them to a man always says Alex Iwobi. So we don't want him to break out and to show that off today against Luka Dean. But apart from that, I think probably the only other change that I might have seen was Young coming in for Ashley Young coming in for Matty Cash. But it is kind of what it is there. They're two good fullbacks. I'm surprised because seeing some of Unai Emery's antics, when Matty Cash is caught out of position sometimes, Unai Emery seems to be going absolutely apoplectic on the line, but he's put faith in him and he's put him in there, and that team is amply good enough to go and get a result at Goodison Park today, but it's all about the structure and all about playing as a team and a cohesive unit.
Yeah. I think the only argument here is two positions. Why is he gone with Bailey? And maybe Bailey has worked hard in training, and that's the only conclusion we can come to, because I would have thought this Buendia has a great goal scoring record against Everton as well, so I would have had him in there, and I think I called it in the preview that he would start with Dean. I think it's a ready-made game for him to come back to where he was the last time he was there. He got hit by the bottle. It'll roil up their crowd and it'll put them on edge. And I believe that Unai Emery is big into mind games, and I think that's where it's coming from.
I think with the Leon Bailey piece here is that we have been very good in the counter-attack away from home. And with his pace on the counter, and I know Buendia's pace as well, don't get me wrong, like probably the Jacob Ramsey being in there and Buendia not playing in that position on that left-hand side where Buendia has played more often than not. And remember, 13 games started in a row. I expected this, or his 12 games started in a row. This was to be his 13th game in a row. I would have expected him to be in that team sheet there. I can see the method behind the madness of putting Leon Bailey there for breaking against this team. They don't have the fullback or the defensive pairing. Well, actually, we don't know who they have at the moment. I'm going to just check here and we'll see what their team is.
While you're doing that, there's a lot of people asking about the two goalkeepers on the bench. Bear in mind that we're gone to 9 subs. We usually have to bring one extra goalkeeper in case of an injury and one extra player in case of an injury. So simply what's happened there is the goalkeeper has been named in the squad because somebody else might go down. So I wouldn't even read into that. You're not going to see Ziyech playing. You're not going to see Sinisalo playing, but for a red card, I'd imagine. So I wouldn't read too much into that. Plus, we're light enough in squad players that we've seen it being padded out with the likes of Caden Young over the last few years or last few weeks. So don't read too much into that. It's just filling the bench as such. And I can assure you the Ziyech, having played last night, was only travelling as a precaution. But with Coutinho gone down, that's why he's in there.
Well, looking at the Everton team we have there, the same question could be asked of Everton. Why have you got 4 centre-halves on your bench? I suppose a lot of teams in the Premier League have players that can play in multiple positions. I think it stands out for Aston Villa so much because goalkeepers only play in one position. So I think that's what stands out, on the subs bench. But there you go. There's Seamus Coleman, the best 60 grand ever spent in the history of humankind, I think. you'd pay more for a car. And so some people pay more for a car than you would for Seamus Coleman, and for the amount of work he's given them and the amount of loyalty and the amount of good times he's given Everton. And this is me talking with my Irish hat on as well. It's great to see him back in the team again. And he is in there. And Jordan Pickford, Seamus Coleman, Connor Cody, Tarkovsky and Mikalenko. Idrissa Ganagay is in there. Onana, Doucouré, McNeil, Iwobi and Maupe makes up. So there's absolutely no surprises there for me. I could have called that 1 to 11, absolutely no problem there. And our substitutes are Asmir Begovic. Seems like he's been in the league as long as I've been, putting on my own trousers. Like it's mad how long he seems he's been in the league. You've got Mason Holgate, Michael Keane, Damari Gray, Yerry Mina, should I say, Ben Godfrey, Tom Davies, Roman Vinagre, and Ellis Sims on the bench as well. So strong team. Sean Dyche doesn't like to rotate. Doesn't really like to rotate. If he finds a team that's winning, you can almost hang your hat on the fact that he's going to play that team as close as he possibly could. Onana comes in and it's Tom Davies drops to the bench. That's a massive upgrade for them to bring in Onana. But we have players that can deal with this team, and I'm like, as you say, as a lot of people have said, I'd take a point if you gave it to me now, but I'm still expecting that this team goes out, plays well, and I would still be, there's ample opportunity to come away from Goodison today with 3 points, and I think that the squad should be going there for the win, and but I suppose really not coming away there without any points, because they need to start getting points.
Yeah. I think if we can boss that midfield, I think if Douglas Luiz and Kamara and indeed McGinn and Ramsey have a good game, that they're not beating us today. That's my prediction. I'm gonna go for a narrow win. I'm gonna go 1-0, but it could just as easy be 2-1. But it'll be a narrow win. Having said that, we'll probably end up with a cricket score like the under 21 last night. But look, they can be got at. There's no doubt. We are the better side on paper. There, we're more settled. They've a lot less in attack than what we have. We can spring things from the bench to really rough them up a little bit. Why there's 4 centre halves on the bench? He likes to play with 3 every now and again, which ends up as a 5. So if he chooses to do so, and Holgate can also play
a right back. Brent Godfrey can play at left back. So there's method to the madness there for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And plus they're lighting players as well. They're a light enough squad too. So, look, I'm expecting a win. But it's all going to come down to how our midfield play, and maybe that's why Buendia misses out today. We've a bit more about us physically, as opposed to the trickery of Buendia. Not to say that he won't come in and change the game.
Exactly. But, and I think it's nailed on. 60 minutes, Buendia, the board goes up. Buendia comes on for maybe Jacob Ramsey, and John Duran comes on for Leon Bailey if Bailey doesn't have 2 goals at that stage, and then we just see a pattern of those substitutions. And I sometimes I think that, that fans kind of get annoyed with similar substitutions, or remember the Trezeguet off El Ghazi on substitution. Like, for me, I'd love to see the statistics in it. I'd love to see the statistics in how many times players are often substituted on and off. And I know Stato isn't there. Stato's golfing in Florida, if you don't mind. Very nice. Stato's out. And if he's watching, Stato, fair play to you. I'd love to have that sun in the back of my neck. Actually, he's only flying at the moment. So Stato is only flying at the moment. I think when he gets there, the game will just be over. But I'd love to see the statistics across the league about how many similar substitutions, because I think when you're following your team so often, you tend to think that your team is the only one who ever makes that unbelievably obvious substitution all the time. But I got caught in the weeds there in that one. But I do think, obviously, I think that they will definitely come on. I think that John McGinn is going to be super pivotal today. And I think the reason that John McGinn and Ramsey are in there are to deal with Iwobi and to deal with the overlapping of somebody like a Seamus Coleman with Iwobi there on the right-hand side, and Mikalenko overlapping McNeil, although he doesn't do it that much. McNeil is going to cross that ball. He can cross at the intermediate level, a la Ahmed El Mohammadi. He can cross it from the byline. So his game is crossing that ball in. He was very, very good at it at Burnley, and he's coming into his own at Everton. Obviously, he's got his ex-mentor now managing him at Everton, so that familiarity is absolutely massive for him. We need to, if we can corral him hugely, them playing through the center with the likes of Doucouré, Onana, and Idrissa Gana Gueye isn't going to long bust up through the field, play a 1-2 and ping one in from 35 yards. Those days are gone for him. They were technically never there. Doucouré had a stinker against us the last day. So if we can get in around him, it's Onana is going to be the killer, the key guy. He's really going to be the key guy. Because if we can limit them to going wide and corral them going wide, then, obviously they've got 5'7" Neil Maupay inside there. And while he is an absolute nuisance and a shithouse inside there, you'd like to think if we can stop the service coming into him that he becomes redundant. And when you look at their bench, they've got Sims, they've got Demarai Gray, and they're their attacking options in the bench. So I think if you could shuffle the two benches together like a deck of cards, give us some of their defensive options, give them some of our attacking options, even though we don't have a million and one of them. I think both teams would probably fancy that. I take a Michael Keane, I take a Ben Godfrey, even though he's a nasty piece of work at times. Just to pad out our team and our bench at times. But look, as I say, that's neither here nor there for the conversation. Paddy, what do you think? I'm going to line up a few comments here while you give your view on where you think they can get at us.
I'm happy enough. I think we just got to boss the game early on. We got to put them under pressure. Their weak links probably down that left back side. That's probably why Bailey's in there to go at Mikalenko. I would hope that we're encouraged to shoot early, shoot often against Jordan Pickford, because the more shots he has in on him, the more likely he is to have a mistake. Don't get me wrong, he can have a worldie too, but there's always a mistake in him. It's just about the pressure, the forcing. We will play a very high. Have you lost me, or have I lost you? Someone tell me in the comments. Is Neil gone or am I gone? I'll keep going anyway. Yeah, I think a high line is probably our best way of getting at these guys today. A lot of pressure on the fullbacks, a lot of pressure on the goalkeeper, and we'll see how we go. Neil looks like he's asleep. We'll add him back in there and see if he comes back. He's not there. Okay, let's see as he lined up any of the comments, and I'll try and steady the ship here. If you want to throw in your Phil, Paddy, I'll try my best. If you want to throw in your predictions, I'll start lining them up there. Pat Max is going for a 4-1. Mystic Max, let's hope for the best, and I'll snap your hands off for a 1-0, let alone a 4-1. 4 goals would be nice. I think we might be happier with a clean sheet, but we'll see how it goes. Noel is going for a 2-2 today. Ever the pessimist, Noel. I think we've got to be looking for a win today. Absolutely. Be Happy goes a 2-1 Villa win. Absolutely happy with that. John Steele's going 1-1. Rachel is going 1-1. Junior Bennett is going a 2-1 Villa. I'm losing them now. Gavin is going 1-1 Duran off the bench. Neil is back from his 40 winks. How are we doing?
It's just a small power cut here. So back
really?
Again. Okay. Yeah.
Aaron's going 3-1 Villa. Neil, I'll let you take over to do your roundup from there on.
I don't know where we are. Oh, there we are. Aaron. 2-0. Pete Tandy says Villa clean sheet. Audrey Lynch 3-1 Villa. Watkins and 2 and Duran with 1. I'd take that. Jeez, I think every Aston Villa fan would be skipping to the pub after that if we had Duran score his first goal and Ollie Watkins come in with 2. Rob Henry says 2-0 Villa. Brendan Townsend says 2-0 to Villa. Watkins to get both. 3-1 to the Villa boys, says Pete still. 2-0 says Vinny in Kahua Gaming. That would be ideal. A goal from a corner, says Daniel. That's one. Yeah, do you know what? I think he should be dropped specifically because he hasn't scored from a corner in so long. Like, this is just not good enough from Douglas Luiz. 4-2 Villa says Just Right. 2-1 says Jam Jack. Mystic Max says 4-1 to Aston Villa. 3-0 Ollie McGinn, and JJ says David Miller. Tim Mosley says 1-1. Michael Richard says 1-1 or 1-2. John Carney says 3-0 to Villa. Dave Winter says tough 1-all draw today. It does not think it's going to be easy. 2-1 says Leslie Pace to the Villa. On my potato powered internet, people telling me to wake you up. I must have been frozen with my eyes closed, as I. Neil, wake your hands up to Snaky. 2-0 Villa, says Pete. 2-0 says, where are we? Off to the Everton bar wearing my lucky black kit for our championship days, says Paul Kelly. 2-0 Ollie and Cody. OG will be perfect. Western Wood says 3-1 Villa. Where are we? And that's it from the roundup there. Paul McAllister says Ben Mee to get sent off.
He's doing well.
That would be a turn up for the books, Paul. That would be a turn up for the books of Ben. No, maybe maybe not in this game. Maybe in a different game for different team. Yeah. I think so. 1-0 Villa, says John Bambury as well. So if you guys could hit the like button, I would really appreciate it. And also, I did a little podcast on Antonio Cardona, the new, not the new, Jesus, there's me being presumptuous with Barcelona being in the mix as well. But the target for sporting director, did a little one last night. I'm going to have a couple of more podcasts coming out in the scouting series coming up in the next few days. I've got one lined up on Pedro Gonzalez already, and I have a couple of more other players that I've been keeping my eye on in La Liga and in the South America, and I hope you do like those because they pass the day for me, put it that way. So before we go, Paddy, what did you say you were going to call it as?
I'm going to go 1-0, but wouldn't be surprised at a 2-1.
Yeah, I've been saying 1-0 Villa all week. I think Villa will be going there with the mindset to win this, obviously. But I think that Unai Emery will have that caveat of saying, if things aren't going our way, we got to bunker down. We got to make sure we don't concede. And as long as we don't concede, we always have a chance. That's the old adage. So I think that there are points definitely in this one for Aston Villa. And with regards to a post-match, I still have the link up for a post-match podcast. It may be taken down, just dependent on time. I have to dash very close to 5:30, because I'm actually traveling somewhere directly after this, so I may not get to a post-match podcast. And I know Paddy's stuck as well. But if there is
Neil,
one, it'll be short and
I think
sweet.
we should just go and enjoy our evening, and we'll do a proper breakdown of it maybe Sunday or Monday.
I'm going to leave it up just in case. If we win 4-0, there's no way I'm not hopping on to do a jolly little dance. But as I say, I'll always be able to find 5 minutes or something for a post match. So I just may not be able to go into it. If we lose, you may see that link disappear quicker than the frost on a May morning. But anyway, that is going to do it for us. I hope Aston Villa win. I am very confident that Aston Villa will go out and have a performance in them today. Unai Emery cut a pissed off figure at the end of the Arsenal game, and I think there's a couple of fleas in a lot of ears after that game for players. And it's essentially put up or shut up point now for us. We're back playing away from home, which we prefer, I think is fair to say. And let's see if we can get the results out of it. So we're going to leave you guys at that. It's 2:20. Go get your favorite beverage. Sit down in front of the TV. If you're on your way to the game, hopefully you get there safe. And as always, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. And all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.